be doing an artwork of Neon Strike Vi. Now this is actually for the Kaisler. A while back we hosted a 48-hour fundraising stream, and he was a very generous donator, and he won himself a custom drone. So this is it. I decided to do a time lapse of it. So the Kaisler, if you're watching this one's for you. Now as you can see, I decided to do it in the same pose as Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, and so I thought it would be really cool to capture Vi in the same essence as Tifa is in this picture. And so this is the clean rough. This is still not quite the final product, it's just a cleaner version of the rough, and that just gets everything more in line. And now I'm still using references here, my references are just on a separate screen. And I drew that little bear onto her arm, that's so cute, look at that. It's actually the wrong way around, but I fixed that later. As you can see, I have a bit of trouble and I make a few mistakes. I can't quite get the eyes right, can't quite get the hands right, but that happens when you draw. And I think the biggest thing with drawing is just patience. You gotta have patience, you gotta realize that you're not gonna get it all perfect first, and so you gotta do it wrong in order to get it right, if that makes sense. Make the mistakes. And so yep, and once I've got that rough all ready, then I bring it into Flash and start cleaning up. Now I clean up in Flash because I'm an animator and I'm often in Flash, and I'm very confident with the software, and so I like to clean up in Flash rather than clean up in Photoshop. And now I'm cleaning up the hands on a different layer to the body. Now the reason for this is so that later on I can decide to move the arms around without actually worrying about having to erase and redraw it. And now you'll notice when I clean up the part of the body that's behind the arm, it looks a bit strange. Now the reason for that is because you're not actually going to be able to see it, and so it's not really that important that it's correct, just as long as the lines are there so I can fill it in and color it later. Now I'm blocking everything white. This is just to get a little feel of how the picture's going to look overall before I color it. And now what I decided to do is actually change the size of the head. Now the reason for this is because I felt like the head was a little too small for my style. Generally I draw my heads a little bit bigger, and so I just made it a slight bit bigger just to make it fit a bit more into my style. And now I get on to drawing the eyes and the face. This takes me far too long, and it frustrated me a little bit, but as I said, you gotta make mistakes to get it right, and so you have to just keep going, push through, and eventually you'll get it how you want it, and then you can go on to the coloring. And then once I've got all the base colors, then I start giving it some highlights and shadows, basically. So give some little shadows like behind the hair and under the chin. And draw that little bear again. This time I've got the angle right. Now added some highlights into the hair, add some shadows into the hair as well. Now I'm doing the background, and so what I'm doing is I'm drawing up some stars, copy-pasting them around. Now I decide that the stars are actually not really that good, and I decided to make some new ones. These ones are much better, much sharper, and then I tone them up, put a gradient in, and sign the piece, and there it is. Yeah!